Well, when the train came to town, they called all aboard. There were children running down to the station. They were told that they'd be taken to the circus. Popcorn paid for free. There'd be elephants and clowns, and they'd all laugh and shout and sing. And the train blues team. And the train blues team. Well, the parents all were working, and no one was around except an old man at the station who yelled a warning sound. He said, "Don't get aboard that train, all it comes upon is sin. There's no flame within the courtroom, no fire burns within." And the train blues team. And the train blues team. Well, the children all just laughed as he wheezed his warning words. They said, "Don't you worry, we'll be back tomorrow. Tell our parents that we love them, but we can't stay here forever. In this bubble, you know, YOLO, gotta live it fast before we take it slow." And the train blues team. And the train blues team. So they hopped aboard and they rode away. They painted smiles on their frowns, 'cause the ringmaster turned them all to clowns. Yeah, the ringmaster turned them all to clowns. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to stand on your own 2 feet. I'm just saying there are men out there that make their living lying, selling watches. They're the street performers, brooding illusionists, confusing, diluting emotion. And I got a notion, not every clown comes home when they invest in fool's gold. So if someone tries to hand you a bill, you gotta know the watermarks to know if it's real. They're putting wool in your eyes if they think they can sell you happiness. Because happiness is not a commodity. Can't be bought, though it's sought after readily. And if you try, then the price will climb steadily, because it comes from within. And if someone thinks they can tell you different, they're just blowing steam. Guys, seriously, huge thank you to everyone who's here tonight. I know a lot of you and I love you. So, and also thank you everyone who's here digitally. I love you too, and I appreciate you. But also Matt Hamblin, he was super funny, and can we just have one more round of applause for him? I hope one day I can be that funny. But so for now, I'll just do my best, and we're gonna get to the rest of the show. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks. Welcome back to Smooth Grooves and the Spoken Word. That was a song I wrote called The Pied Piper. It was inspired by a freaky, creepy folk tale of a man who came and stole the children away from a village. In my song version, since I was playing the guitar, I imagined the American West as a setting instead of an obscure town in Germany. But there's also one more key difference. In my version, there's an old man who warns the children not to go. I think as a society, we underestimate the impact older people can have. The older we get, the less and less energy we have. Sometimes our minds are not as sharp as they once were, and the family we love so much often becomes more and more engrossed in their own lives, with less and less time to spend with us. It can be easy to doubt the impact we can have or to think that what we do doesn't matter. But while the physical abilities of the elderly may be decreasing, it's important to remember that their impact for good does not decrease. Sometimes it's the gentle frailty of a listening ear that allows someone to be vulnerable, to share something they've been holding in, or the vast life experience that informs a good piece of offered advice. The very old age that seems to inhibit us can be the key that allows us to have an impact for good. This next poem is about getting old and how to deal with it. I hope you like it. Old. Guys, I'm 25 now. So I think we all know I speak from experience when I say, don't ever get old. Because when you're old, your back begins to fold and your neck begins to crick. And when everybody's healthy, you're feeling sick. And the face that once had the perfect complexion that made the ladies all look in your direction. Now what you see in the mirror's reflection is just World War II, with big old splotches where the bombs all blew, and trenches for the soldiers to all crawl through. And places where hair never ever grew suddenly become this fertile field with a forest so thick you can't see through. But that's just the start. Because next, the cartilage in your knees just turns to cheese, and you feel like you'll fall over if there's a slight breeze. And you gotta wear a hat, even in the summer, otherwise you'll freeze. But even that wouldn't be so bad if I didn't have these dang diets my doctor keeps putting me on. But with the fear of stenosis in my heart, I promised him that I'd keep them as best I could. And it's probably good, because if my insides are a train, then bacon is Jesse James. All I gotta say is thank goodness for prune juice. But the other day, I was talking to my grandpa, and I said to him, "Sir, I'm 25 now, and one of the things that I'm starting to realize is when the amount of time that I've been alive comes again, I'll be really old. And I'm not really sold. I mean, no disrespect, and I don't mean to pry, but I think that I would rather die than not be able to walk or to see what I read or to have to live vicariously from a Facebook feed. I mean, what could make you smile if you can't run a mile or feel the thrill of a bike on a hill?" And he said to me, "Boy, I don't have time for your stupid questions. And I don't like what you're thinking, boy, or what you're suggesting. Life is a thrill, but it's not always a coast on a bike down a hill. And old age is a wish for many that's never fulfilled. You see, time is like money. It's got worth if you spend it. If you've got it, use it. Don't waste time regretting what you can and can no longer do, because there's so much in life you could never get to. I can still learn, can't I? I can still smile. I can still grab a hand and whisper that I care to my fellow man. So I'll run to accomplish the things that I can. And if I can't run, I'll jog. And if I can't jog, I'll walk. And if I can't walk, I'll roll. And if I can't roll, I'll rock in a chair. And I'll read till my eyes won't bring me any more light. And then I'll use my ears, boy, because this is a fight that I'm not gonna lose. And if I lose my mind or my might, I'll let instinct decide. Because I have spent nothing, if not years of my life, teaching myself to keep doing when there's loads of strife. And these lines I have are a diploma of a life well lived. And I will live it, come rain, shine, or diabetes, till I have nothing to give. And you know, my grandpa's right. Time is more precious when it's growing thin. So, even though I'm 25, I'm gonna use what I've got while I still have wind. Every day, we have opportunities to make the most of our lives. But sometimes we fail to perform the way we want to, or something bad happens that was outside our control. It's okay to be sad about our lost opportunities, and sometimes you gotta just let those salty tears dribble down the hairs of your chinny chin chin. It's okay to grieve, and I don't want to sound like Pollyanna, but I think we make the damage worse when we focus only on the negative, and particularly things that are outside of our control. A lady named Amy Cuddy, not sure how to say her name, but she did some interesting research on how what we focus on impacts our body and how our body impacts what we focus on. She talks about the concept of moving your body into what she called a power pose and how that will actually impact our hormones, our mood, our confidence, and change the way we think. It's fascinating research and I think it's worth a read. But the next poem talks about that idea of changing what we focus on, how that can change our experience in a powerful way and bring us out of the funk that we sometimes find ourselves in. So sit up straight, puff out your chest, and enjoy the funk of man. Friday, 5 o'clock. The marker streaks across the whiteboard, squeaking. Teacher speaking slowly. But I only hear the deafening crescendo of the clocks tick, tick, tock. There's only 5 minutes till class is forced to stop, and the zippers are getting louder, so the teacher's speaking over the top. But the weekend is here whether she likes it or not. Let freedom ring! The bell sings its long, glorious note. And I'm out. Deuces. This weekend's gonna rock. So, I guess I'm just gonna head home now, unless anybody wants to do something. I mean, I didn't find a date to that thing I got invited to by my roommate, and 2 weeks are up, and I just got paid, and I got no one with me to celebrate. And all my friends are busy camping in another state. I can't go with them, it's already too late. I was really looking forward to a nice break because I just bombed that test, but I think I would have done fine if not for the stress. I just wanted to relax and feel fulfilled, but I guess now it's just Netflix and chill by myself. So I sit there, swiping left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay, how sad is this? I thought I had this weekend in the palm of my fist, but the stresses of life are destroying my bliss, and I don't have groceries because I've been remiss, and now I'm consumed with loneliness, and it seems like a lifetime since I last got kissed. And and if that wasn't so distracting, I could finish my list. Okay. Hey, yeah, could you guys keep it down? Oh, no, it's not that late. It's, my parents just got here from out of town and they're trying to sleep, and it's hard with the DJ dropping the beat. That looks like fun. Yeah, oh, yeah, I'll come in just for a sec. And those sweet, funky grooves that the bass is laying down just moves my legs. And the DJ plays till my sweat drip drops, and I'm getting kind of stinky, but I'm not gonna stop just because there's a funk in the air. Because this funk in the air is helping me glide my way right out of that funk. Now there's a lady out there who swears you can make a difference in your mood through the actions you take. She says poses give you power to communicate to your body, to tell it to pick up the pace, and that power poses can help you create the illusion of mojo till it's no longer fake. Now don't get me wrong, sadness should never be smothered, but it's also nice to know that you can mother and nurture feelings of confidence and power, because our circumstances don't control us so much when we decide not to cower to our fears. And that's important in this world where we wonder whether we have the wherewithal to control anything at all. I can control me. And I can stand tall, and I can get big instead of feeling shrunk. And the best way to do it? Well, I think it's funk. I was wildly stoked to slip in the word funk so many times with 3 different meanings. I know you're all thinking, weird flex, Adam, but that's cool, whatever floats your boat. And in my defense, that's just what happens when you're a nerd. You get way too excited about stuff, like uncomfortably excited. And if I'm being honest with you, that's what this next song is all about. When I finished my first year of college, I decided to put everything I learned into a song so that I could woo women with my deep knowledge of statistics and chemistry. As fate would have it, that approach did not work, nor has it. But I do think I ended up with a pretty funky song. So let's dive together into the scholastic pool of academia with theoretical funk. I know I'm socially inept. It's because I spend all that time where the library books are kept. And you don't have to tell me that I smell bad, because I spend all that time in the chemistry lab. But I want you to know that even though I'm nerdy and my fingernails are dirty, that you don't have to worry. Because in a couple of years, I'll be making bank, spending Benjamin Frank from my pocket for change. And if I was good with words, then we wouldn't be here. We'd be sitting alone, and I'd be calling you dear. But I want you to know just how much I care. I'ma do my best, and you better be aware. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. My medulla oblongata, it belongs to you because you're the only drum my heart ever beats to. I'm under cardiac arrest every time I see your face, and my respiratory system goes at a different pace. My fricatives are difficult to make it come out. My voice is like the hokey pokey, gets shaken all about. I donate my kidney if that's what I had to do. Girl, I want you to know that I think the world of you. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Negative 9.8 meters per second squared is the rate I gravitate to you. Our love is unimpaired by the friction of force, and girl, our love is so deep that our terminal velocity will never be reached. The explanatory variable is clearly you. My p-value is so low, I'll tell you what I'll do. The null hypothesis we must reject, and the significant relationship we gotta accept.
No matter if you're old, young, discouraged, depressed, down, happy, unintelligent, socially aware, or uncomfortably nerdy, we all have something that, to quote Mr. Rogers, makes us special. I'm different than you are different than me, and yet we each have something valuable to offer. As a background to this next poem, you should know that I'm naturally a really shy person. I didn't ever feel really cool growing up. I didn't wear trendy clothes. I moved a lot, and so it was sometimes hard for me to make friends. In 1843, Hans Christian Andersen told a story about this nasty little scrappy, trashy, dumpy looking duck that just didn't fit in. And I think that's a little bit relatable to all of us. But what happens if you don't grow up and turn into a swan? That's why I wrote this next poem, Ugly.
The other day I took a Facebook quiz, and my celebrity lookalike is ugly. It's not surprising though. I mean, even I know. From a suckling child, I was afraid to smile at a girl, never deluding myself to outlandish grandeurs of greener pastures that someday she might hand her heart to me. But other guys seem to have it made, in the shade of a palm tree, sipping lemonade, while the women all braid the luscious locks of his golden mane. But it's not just that makes me care. I mean, I'm not jealous of all the attention or his golden hair, but it's the similar interests that we share that make it all seem so unfair. For instance, in certain circumstances, we both seem to act like squirrels, and it's when we're around the hot girl. Now, I will admit that she's probably in the major leagues while I'm still playing third string on my elementary school t-ball team. But a man can dream. I mean, suppose with me that a lofty eagle really did fall in love with a slimy old octopus. I mean, wouldn't they still share a few magic moments together before either the eagle drowned or the octopus suffocated? And wouldn't they still gaze lovingly, longingly into each other's eyes as the octopus gurgled from its beak with its last gulp of air before it died that it was grateful that the talons of love had pierced its salty inksicles to take him to soar in the skies and be with the eagle as it flies? Now, I realize that this may be hard to visualize, especially considering the fact that most of us are only assuming that octopuses even have eyes. Excuse me, octopi. But what I'm really trying to say is that us ugly guys have feelings too. And I'm not just talking about loneliness. I mean, we got passion for math and stuff like that. And if the hot girl really does have to choose between us two, I think Mr. Goldilocks just might lose. Because everyone automatically assumes that ugly guys only have the monopoly on being lonely. But between me and you, it's just not true. Because the hot girl, she's lonely too. And I know you're all saying, you're not calling this fair. Because if life is a game, you can tell she's a player. It's probably true. But while she may average more than one date a day, how many of those guys listen to what she has to say? I mean, she doesn't just want a guy who will hold her hand. She wants a guy who will offer his hand. She doesn't just want a guy who will kiss her lips. She wants a guy who will listen to what she's saying. She doesn't just want a guy who she can stare with eye to eye. She wants a guy who she can stand with, shoulder to shoulder. And that's why love is bolder than the horizon that separates the octopus and the eagle, because love is regal, it's real, and it's true, and really no one can tell you that she's too good for you. We all recognize pride when someone says, I am better than you. But if you say, she is too good for me, isn't that still vanity? Look, we all have fingerprints, and we all have them different, but we don't have to be dissonant. That's how we can compare without competing. We don't have to be retreating, brash, or insecure, because one man's trash is another man's treasure. So I hope you take pleasure in soaring in the skies, because really, we're all eagles. There are no octopi. Guys, thank you again so much for coming tonight, digital and physically. I just want to say also thank you to the crew who joined me in that dance, wherever they are. I hope they come out. But let's have a round of applause for them. Everybody, you guys are great. No need for that. And also thank you to Matt Hamlin. I think he's back here somewhere. Yeah. Can we have another round of applause for him? Way to go, man. Good job. You're funnier than I'll ever be. But yeah, thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Smooth Grooves and the Spoken Word. Until then, remember that love is the answer. We'll see you then.